So the question then is, why are these people making this effort to fool us into believing that this wall, these movies are real? And the answer is because they're trying to enslave us. Okay? Slavery. But then you're like, okay, but slavery means that I take a gun and I say, if you don't do what I say, I'll kill you. But that's not what slavery is. If the universe is conscious, okay, our energy comes from our attention. Attention is energy. So what they want is our energy. Okay? That's true wealth. If they're able to focus our energy, capture our imagination, they can construct reality in the way that they want it. Okay? Because reality is what we imagine it to be. The imagination is the animating force of the universe. Right? So if they can focus our attention, for us, they can create their own reality. Alright? Now we understand why we watch movies. Now we understand why we have the internet. Now we understand why the school wants you to love artificial intelligence. Because it's to enslave you. It's all of human history is about enslavement. Okay? That's what progress is. You think that, oh my God, I can now watch movies. Oh my God, I have now social media. I can communicate with anyone. Oh my God, I have ChatGPT. And ChatGPT can tell me the truth about the world. No. All of these things are created to enslave your mind. Because you have access to God. And so what they're trying to do is trick you into believing that this reality is a true reality. Because once you believe that, this reality becomes the only reality. Okay? So the question is like, who are these people? Well, we don't know, okay?
The Jews who escaped Russia and built Hollywood. From 1881 to 1914, pogroms swept through Russia and Eastern Europe. Jews were blamed for the assassination of Tsar Alexander II. Jewish villages were attacked, burned to the ground. Thousands were killed, but most of them survived and managed to escape. Over 2 million Jews fled to America in the largest Jewish migration in history. They traveled for weeks in steerage, the cheapest, most dangerous section of the ship. Many died during the voyage from disease and starvation. They arrived in New York speaking Yiddish, penniless, and traumatized. Most settled in the Lower East Side, packed into tenements, up to 7 families sharing a single apartment. No heat in winter, no hot water. Many of them started working in sweatshops, 12-hour days in cramped, airless factories, hunched over sewing machines from dawn until dark, making clothes. But some had bigger dreams. Early 1900s, several Jewish immigrants discovered the new film industry. Samuel Goldwyn, Louis B. Mayer, the Warner Brothers, Carl Lemo, Adolf Zukor, all were Jewish immigrants or sons of immigrants. Hollywood was created by Jews who'd been rejected by established industries. They built the major studios, MGM, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Universal, 20th Century Fox. By the 1930s, Jewish immigrants controlled Hollywood and shaped American culture through film. From pogrom survivors to culture makers in one generation. The same people America didn't want now defined the American dream. They'd escaped death in Russia and built the Dream Factory. And that's just one story inside Paladin.
1938, radio was king, and on one October night, a fictional alien invasion, presented like breaking news, convinced thousands it was real. Orson Welles didn't just tell a story, he demonstrated how powerful media framing can be, how easily urgency, authority, and emotion can override skepticism. The clip you're about to hear is from Grover's Mill, New Jersey, the moment the broadcast shifts from curiosity to panic. Just remember, the lesson isn't about aliens, it's about how humans process information.
We now return you to Carl Phillips at Grover's Mill.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marion. Ladies and gentlemen, here I am, back of a stone wall that adjoins Mr. Wilmer's garden. From here, I get a sweep of the whole scene. I'll give you every detail as long as I can talk and as long as I can see. More state police have arrived. They're drawing up a cordon in front of the pit. About 30 of them. No need to push the crowd back now. They're willing to keep their distance. The captain's conferring with someone. Can't quite see who. Oh, yes, I believe it's Professor Pearson. Yes, it is. Now they've parted, and the professor moves around one side, studying the object while the captain and 2 policemen advance with something in their hands. I can see it now. It's a white handkerchief tied to a pole. Flag of truce. If those creatures know what that means, what anything means. Wait a minute, something's happening. A humped shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against a mirror. What's that? There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror, and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Lord, they're turning into flames. Now the whole field's caught up by the woods, the barns, the gas tanks of the automobiles spreading everywhere. It's coming this way now, about 20 yards to my right.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast from Grover's Mill. Evidently, there's some difficulty with our field transmission. We continue now with our piano interlude.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed a message that came in from Grover's Mill by telephone. Just one moment, please. At least 40 people, including 6 state troopers, lie dead in a field east of the village of Grover's Mill. Their bodies burned and distorted beyond all possible recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a bulletin from Trenton. It is a brief statement informing us that the charred body of Carl Phillips has been identified in a Trenton hospital. Now, here's another bulletin from Washington, D.C.
Why were both world wars really fought? We're told they were unavoidable clashes of ideology. Good versus evil, allies versus aggressors, freedom versus tyranny. But step back and look at the pattern. Before the wars, Europe was filled with towering cathedrals, ornate city centers, domes, arches, and public squares built with precise symmetry and sacred geometry. Massive bells rang daily across towns, shaping the rhythm and atmosphere of entire communities. Then came total war. Historic city cores were flattened: Dresden, Warsaw, Berlin, London, Tokyo. Afterward, much of what returned was not the same. Instead of intricate stonework and harmonic design, concrete blocks and modern grids replaced centuries of craftsmanship. Standardized, simplified, sterile. Across Europe, bells were removed and melted down. And look at who was sent to fight: the bravest, strongest, most ambitious young men of every nation. Entire generations erased on all sides. If the goal was simply victory, why did every major power lose so much of its heritage, its architecture, and its future leaders? Were the world wars really about defeating an enemy, or about erasing an old world altogether?
You be the judge. If you're awake, then the message is already clear. Support the movement. Show where you stand. Some choices echo long after the moment has passed.